This is Talking Bullish, the new Bradford Bulls fan podcast.
We're your hosts, Laura Micklefield
and Alan Raisin. Welcome to another episode of Talking Bullish. We're both here having watched a nail-biter of a game on Sunday. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to be on here because we're both in separate places today, aren't we? So we weren't able to make the match, so both were listening and sharing the edge of the seat excitement, I'd say.
Yeah.
whilst we were listening in different countries this week. So
indeed we are, but we are battling through. Okay, so yeah. What a game at the weekend. Oh, my word. What do you have to say about that, Laura?
Yeah, edge of your seat sort of stuff, wasn't it? Very back and forth. Seems to be like, we'll score a try, you score a try. Yeah, it was just a really good team performance. I think, I know nobody likes to use a disruption to your team or injury as excuses for matches, but when you've got all that and you win, it seems a little bit more special. Obviously, on my preview to the match, I did say that I would expect to win, but that was not knowing about the adversity we were facing off the field. Obviously, straight away we had Hooley out with a strain, and then we had Mason pull out as well, so it was Wayne and Meadows in for them, but then straight away Meadows is in a position he doesn't usually play, and then judging from that side anyway, you already think there's disruption of players, but then during the match it was just, it just all got a bit crazy. I think we went down to 2 available interchanges after 20 minutes, so with both Donaldson and Gill coming off injured, and then lost Lily as well, so
a real war of attrition.
Yeah, one for interchange for about 30 minutes or so, I'd say. And I actually made a note of all the kind of out of position players. So there's Meadows playing at full-back instead of half-back, Fulton playing at centre instead of back row, Michael playing at second row instead of prop, Hallis playing in the halves instead of loose forward, and Lawrence playing for 80 minutes as a prop in the front of the field. So adversity, but we overcome it.
As you say, going into the game, we were pretty confident, but Doncaster had come into the game having successfully had back-to-back wins. Obviously, Bulls on 6 from 6. So, it was obviously going to be a great game. With all those injuries, probably we thought, maybe it's not going to be our day. Let's recount the game.
So first off, it seemed a bit of a slow start to the game, to be honest. It was a lot of kind of stop-start, didn't seem to get into the flow of things. Donaldson was injured within the first, I think it was 45 seconds or something. The game obviously stops and didn't really get going, and he went off and didn't look like he was going to return, and obviously didn't. And then there's a knock-on from Bradford. Then Doncaster knocked on, and then a stoppage for injury to G, but he was okay and stayed on, and then a stoppage for injury for a Doncaster player. So I think those first kind of 10 minutes or so just seemed very hit and miss, just not really getting into the game, not kind of the fast pace we're used to with the Bulls starting. But when they did get into kind of the flow of it, they did follow the same pattern as the other matches, with the kind of getting ahead on the board pretty quick.
2 early tries. First by Wacker-Blake.
Yeah, Wacker-Blake was the first to score after a illegal tackle on Meadows, but the kick was missed. Again, I was thinking, are we going to have a repeat where we're going to miss all the kicks, and is that going to be costly? Then the next try for Joe Keys takes on the line. I thought that were another good try from it wasn't him that went and scored the try, but he took on the line and caused good play to Lily to send Fulton over. I thought that was a brilliant try as well. So we just seemed to be starting quick off the blocks again, and then it seemed like Doncaster kind of was struggling to keep pace. But then once Kieran Gill went off and Fulton kind of moved to left centre from right back row, it just seemed to start creeping the other way, and Doncaster started to get back into it. But it's difficult when you're not at the match yourself, but judging by what we heard on the radio and watching replays and stuff, it seemed like there was a knock-on missed from Doncaster. So the Bulls players kind of stopped thinking it's going to get called as a knock on. It was missed, never blown as a knock on. So therefore, Doncaster play on, get up the field, get a set restart after that, and then score a try of their own. So kind of a mixture of, I suppose, is it unlucky? And then kind of compounded by the fact that we then held onto the tackle and caused a set restart. So it's just kind of that indiscipline, I suppose, creeping in a bit there.
But I suppose a lesson to learn that, you got to play to the whistle no matter what.
Yeah, that's what you've got to do, and obviously Doncaster took advantage of that, and good on them, to be fair, that you do the right thing. If they don't blow for the penalty or the knock on, you can't just assume it's coming, and yeah.
So then Doncaster knocks the ball into touch, but the ref said it touched Bulls. So it got turned over again, and then the penalty given to Doncaster again for Bradford holding down. And that's when Doncaster scored to keep it level. Oh, yes, I do remember seeing this on the game replay. It was really on the back line there. Do you remember that one, Laura?
Yeah, watching the replay, I don't know if that was grounded before the line, but being in the Championship and not having the luxury of a video referee, I suppose you have to make the decision whether, if you haven't seen it not being scored, I suppose give the benefit of the doubt. A bit controversial, but at the same time, if you do look at Fulton's try, he was quite close to the line as well. So I suppose you can say that's one either way.
And then so that's 10 apiece, and I think really. Would you say Doncaster's had the momentum from then?
Yeah, I think we tried to. I think Guy Armitage did a break and got to the 40-metre line, and it ended with a power play in the middle and a turnover. So it wasn't really a kind of threatening end to the set. So I don't think we were kind of firing on all cylinders at that point. But obviously we had a bit of disruption. But then Doncaster kicked out on the full, and it was Bradford ball on halfway. And I think Suter made a break at that point. We probably would have been in again, but passed to a Doncaster player. But I'm pretty sure, judging by what was said on the radio as well, they were calling for it, and probably a bit of trickery there by the Doncaster player to pretend that there was one of the Bulls players in support there. But again, it's not illegal.
Good gamesmanship, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe that could have come to something, but it just then I think Matty G knocked on after that, and then we gave away another set restart, and it was Doncaster got the ball 10 metres out, but luckily then they knocked on as well. So it kind of got a bit scrappy at that point. I think it just seems to be like a first half of, well, obviously there's a lot of adversity, but there was tries through the same kind of patterns as we've seen in the other matches, a bit of kind of scrappy play or knock-ons, holding down too long, few niggly penalties. Not a high penalty count by any means, but I think the kind of stop-start nature of the match at the beginning, plus kind of errors either way, plus all the disruption for the players from the Bulls side, it was a bit of a scrappy first half, but I suppose it was a good thing to end 10-all in my opinion, because I think no one really was kind of standing out as the clear winner in the first half.
Yeah, and then at halftime, I was a bit worried about the energy levels given all those injuries and the lack of interchange players. So how did you feel at halftime?
Yeah, I felt like I say, it was scrappy, but we kind of, again, we don't like to use excuses for things, but there was a lot more disruption to our team than there was Doncaster's. So I suppose it'd be more of a positive for us. You obviously want to be up at half time, but you're already down to 2 interchanges, having lost one from not even a minute in.
Yeah.
And it was a lot for the middles. Like I say, big shout out to Michael Lawrence for an 80-minute performance for a prop forward. That's not many can do it.
Yeah, he doesn't normally play. Well, how many minutes does he usually play in a game, would you say? Definitely like the first 10 minutes. But...
Yeah, first probably 10, 20 minutes, and then he'll come off for a while, and they'll kind of switch and change throughout the match. They'll kind of get breathers every so often. But he'll just have to, I suppose, put his hand up and say he'd stay on and lead as captain, I suppose, and battle through for the whole 80 minutes. So, like you say, you'll find it's a lot for a prop forward to to be on for the whole 80 minutes. So it's brilliant that he did it, really, and showed consistency throughout the match with it.
So we're back to the second half then. So again, we were the first to score out of half time, 48 minutes. Suter breaking out of acting half. And then, so yeah, the set ended with a really good Keys chip kick that fell to the Dons, and then they knocked it back to Fulton. So yeah, a great try at the end of that set.
Yeah, opportunistic try. I mean, I think on the X feed was saying that it was Armitage kind of palmed back for Fulton to score, but I think it actually was a Briscoe knock on. I think that was said on the radio as well. Like the replay looks like it was, but either way, tricky kick, good play by Keys to obviously result in a try at the end of it. So you felt like we were kind of getting back into the swing of things at that point. But then it was a knock on from the restart, which it's a coach killer, that one. But luckily, the ref said play on. So again, this is where I say sometimes you get some decisions against you, you get some decisions for you. This is one of the opportunities where it kind of went our way. But again, there was another injury to a Doncaster player and the clock stopped again. So it was a feeling that was this going to get into kind of the scrappy first half that we saw. But I were hoping not really. And then the end of a bomb, which I think I saw when I saw on the replay, it seemed to go all over the place, but ended up obviously by Doncaster doing a break of the length of the field try, which it was a brilliant try, to be fair. And yeah, the kick was good for them to get them to 16-14 in the lead. And that's at the point where I was thinking, could those missed kicks have been costly? But luckily, yeah, we know what happened with the rest of the match. So it wasn't too detrimental in the end.
Yeah. That run was so quick from Doncaster as well, wasn't it? As you say, on the commentary they said, yeah, he really pinned his ears back and he was going for it there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a brilliant try. I mean, even as the opposition team, you have to give credit where credit's due. I mean, I won't mind him signing for the Bulls. I think I've seen a few people say that as well on the X feeds and Facebook and Instagram and such. But yeah, he seems like a brilliant player. So yeah, it was a good Doncaster try, was that one, to be fair.
Yeah, so then the Dons are, as you say, 2 up, with the successful kicks. Could they be costly? Well, at this point it was a bit hanging in the balance, wasn't it? But
yeah.
Then Suter wins a set restart, and then Suter goes over. And then now we only have Keys to kick.
It was the third kicker of the match, wasn't it? Because we were losing people. So yeah, at least we got the 2 on that one. Put us a bit further ahead, thankfully, but still not enough.
Yeah, because then they broke again, and fortunately they did. It wasn't a total breakaway. They did get tackled, but they didn't complete the tackle. Now, I don't actually understand why that wasn't a completed tackle. Maybe you could fill me in. But the Dons go ahead, get it over the line and score a try.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where the technical thing is if a ball carrying arm doesn't hit the floor, the tackle isn't complete. But for tackles where you're kind of kept upright and there's a lot of kind of wrestling, like not down on the floor sort of thing, it's up to the referee to call when the tackle is held. So you'll hear them shout, and then obviously then the play of the ball happens. So what's happened there again is obviously Armitage just tackled, thought it was complete, moved off to kind of obviously expecting to play the ball. The referee never called held, so therefore Doncaster can play on. So the Doncaster player obviously thought this isn't a held tackle, carried on, and obviously got the break, and which resulted in the try. So it could have gone either way, and a bit unfortunate for the Bulls, but one of those things. So that made the score 22-20 to Doncaster at that point.
Yeah, so another change in the lead.
Yeah, so it was back and forth. So yeah, at this point you're thinking, oh, is this slipping away from us? But at the same time, we just seemed to be really resilient and kept coming back, which was brilliant. Yeah, we'd had, let's say, Lawrence on for all match, and the only interchange left at that time was Sker. got a little bit scrappy again, like an injury to Doncaster, and the clock stopped again. But again, it can't be helped if players are injured. You've got to stop the clock. Slowed it down a bit, and then there was a bit of holding down, but no penalties given. But again, just seemed a little bit scrappy. But then Logan Bayliss forcing a Doncaster error, and Bradford got a scrum 20 metres out. Nearly a try, but Ockenbaugh got pushed into touch by the end of it. Then Joe Keys got a stolen ball from Doncaster just before they could score. Then all of Doncaster were offside, so it was a penalty to Bradford. Got us up the field, and that set ended in Ockenbaugh's score. So that got us to 24-22 because we missed the kick again. But to be fair, it was right on the touchline. And yeah, it just seemed at that point we were getting like close to the end of the match, and it just seemed like a burst of energy into the Bradford side at that point. I think they seemed really like, oh, we can win this, which, like I say, when you kind of got players out of position, you got players who couldn't play from the start, one interchange left, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
It takes a good team effort to think we've got the energy to win this, and it did seem like in the last kind of 5-6 minutes to go that the Bradford did up it a gear, which was really pleasing to hear.
Yeah. So I know personally I was thinking, 2 up, 6 minutes to go, just try and slow it down maybe. Just can't afford to make a mistake at that point though, can you?
No. It was definitely a nervous last 5 minutes. It was good that we got a Doncaster's not square at the play the ball, so penalty to Bradford, and then another penalty to Bradford, where we ran it in, and then what is it? That was it in the last minute? Was it? Skur just takes about 4 or 5 Doncaster players over with him, but managed to kind of turn in the tackle and plant the ball down. So yeah, brilliant, really good end. Really, I'd just say really good win for the Bulls and resilient. And I know it's one of those where, obviously, I think as any Bulls fans would say, you do enjoy watching matches where it's a clear win and you score plenty of points and you see like excellent like defence and not letting many tries in, which is obviously what you strive for. But I think matches like that, you feel the win like more, if that makes sense. I think it was more a real team effort, and the fact that there was so much adversity and that we got the win, I would feel like the Bradford sides of pre-season, before, I don't think we'd have won that game. If I were honest, like if I kind of thought of a few seasons back, and I felt similar with the Batley match, the first one we had in the 1895 Cup, where it's close at the end and we got the win. We would have never got those wins before, but I feel like there's something about this Bradford side that really want to get the win and play right up until the 80-minute hooter, and it's obviously it's paying off because it's 7 wins on the bounce in the league.
Yeah. So just the final score there, 22-30.
Brilliant.
Nice win for the Bulls. Number 7 in the championship in a row. So yeah, great 2 points there. After the match, No-ble, agreed, an important 2 points. Definitely an ugly win, but had to dig deep because of all the adversity that we've already gone through.
Yeah,
I saw that there were no Bradford penalties in the second half.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Like much lower penalty count this match, but still obviously the odd penalties. But like you say, you're going to get them. But yeah, it was a much better second half from Bradford considering all the adversity. I do think they've got more in them, but obviously the amount of work that everyone was putting in just to show that sort of energy and resilience was brilliant. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm not sure I was given man of the match on the day, but I think it could have gone to to all of the team, to be fair. I'd have probably myself given it to Fulton. 2 tries, playing out of position, and he always runs hard and always plays well. So that he would have probably been my man of the match for that. And then Hitman, it was, Michael Lawrence. I don't think there's any surprises there, and I think it's fully deserved.
Yeah. What a game. I mean, he has been playing quite well, I've thought, over the last few weeks, but definitely to play the 80 minutes and so strongly and, come out with that win, true captain performance, as you say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well deserved.
And so still second in the table, just a 57 points differential behind Toulouse. Is that important?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be lovely to finish top of the league, wouldn't it? But there's a long way to go. But you never know. Some sides have they have beaten to lose. They're not unbeatable. We do know that. So if they kind of slip up at any point and we stay on this roll, you never know. But I don't want to talk too optimistic there, seeing as I'm usually the pessimistic one.
Yeah, well, there's definitely still a long way to go. It's something like 15 rounds, 14 games, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it kind of brings me on to something that was discussed in the match commentary about next year's structuring. And it does seem a bit odd that we're playing a season where we don't really know how it's going to end. I don't know how you feel about that, but there's definitely some discussion about changing Super League, maybe merging the Championship and League One. Have you heard any of these bits and pieces, Laura? And what's your opinion on them?
Yeah, there's always kind of rumours floating about what's going to happen, and is it going to go to 10 teams in Super League? Is it going to go to 12? Is it going to go to 14? There's also rumours, obviously, like I say, about merging the Championship and League One now that there's Cornwall dropped out of League One this season. So obviously there's more kind of push, I think, to merge the two because it's obviously into a kind of bigger competition. But it's difficult to say. I mean, in this IMG period, obviously it's to do with your points and whether you're in Super League or not and where you're going to finish. Obviously, if it's a 14-team Super League, do Bradford get a shot at it? If it's a 12, do Bradford get a shot at it? If it's 10, probably not.
Yeah.
But it's one of those where, as much as obviously I think any Bulls fan would love to see us back in Super League, I'd love to do it through earning it through promotion. And I do think, I mean, I would like to hear anyone's comments or thoughts on things with kind of the promotion relegation thing and keeping promotion and relegation between Championship and League One as it currently stands, unless obviously there's a merger. That seems to still be in place, but then obviously it's been taken out for the Super League and the Championship. I can only assume it's for the Super League clubs voting for that to protect that they will obviously then get relegated even if they don't perform on the field. Who knows what will happen? I suppose is the way to say things. But if I was to be in charge of rugby league in general, I would go back to the usual kind of probably a 12 Super League, maybe 14. I won't be opposed to that, but I would definitely have the promotion and relegation from Championship to Super League, and obviously relegation from Super League to Championship.
Yeah.
I don't particularly mind or think it's a bad idea about merging Championship and League One, so you could have two leagues with obviously the promotion and relegation between the Championship as a bigger league and the Super League. But who knows? Watch this space, I suppose. I mean, it'd be interesting to know what people think. But what do you think, Alan?
My thoughts are that presumably the television revenue would be much greater if we were in Super League, whether it was a 10, 12 or 14 team Super League. And hence, would that mean the players get better contracts? Could be full time. That's got to be a good thing, surely, and ensure Bradford keep moving up the leagues and keep performing to their best.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, I suppose I always seem to be look on the negative side of things, but I don't mean to. But even with obviously going full time, which it'd be brilliant and be like a top performing kind of team in Super League. It takes some building anyway, but it's sometimes hard because there is a lot of players who are quality players who want to play for Bradford, who probably want part-time contracts as well. So I wouldn't know what the squad would look like if we got to Super League, but there is part of it where I think, would we lose some quality players that don't want to be full-time? And sometimes you kind of think that the team that's kind of building towards Super League, you'd like to see in Super League, if that makes sense. But obviously I know you've got to recruit for Super League if you're in there and get a certain calibre of player, but I would just like to see a lot of the kind of hard-working players that we've got now who put in like the blood, sweat and tears to perform on the field, get in the shot in Super League, and obviously some of them it's not actually available to them because they have got other jobs as well as playing on the field.
No, that's an interesting perspective. Yeah, I hadn't really thought of it that way. Great. Well, I guess that concludes our roundup. We've got a week off next week with the Challenge Cup and 1895 Cup being played at Wembley. Obviously, we hope that the York Knights get very tired out because it's then we face the following week.
Yeah, it's. I suppose it's a good time to get a week off with all the injuries that we've got. So hopefully not too many of them are long term, and we might get some bodies back ready for the York match, which I think should be a really brilliant one to look forward to. I think obviously Bulls will want to kind of get a bit of vengeance for the for the semi final. And also York will want to put the stamp of authority of things as it's not a fluke, and they want to carry on showing that they can beat Bradford and they'll climb up the table, which they are doing, and they're obviously on the back of some good wins as well, and putting quite a lot of points past people as well. So that should be a brilliant one. But yeah, it's nice to have a week off. I definitely I will be watching the Challenge Cup final, and I think they're actually hopefully streaming the 1895 Cup as well. So if available, I might give that a watch as well. But obviously, we will miss the Bulls being on this week.
Yeah. Okay, that just leaves one matter of business left, and that is bull or no-ble, where I put 3 statements to Laura, and you have to decide which ones are bull. Well, there's one no-bull honest statement, and there are 2 statements that are nonsense, aka bull. Now, this is according to a rugby website I was looking at, Rugby League Project.org. So I hope that the stats are accurate. So I just apologise if they're not. But these are the 3 statements.
Just as a disclaimer, before I answer those, Alan, that obviously I'm a massive Bradford Bulls fan, but I'm not very up on the statistics. So I'm just putting that out there before I answer the questions.
Well, I hope you will. I hope they won't be too hard for you. So the statement number 1 is, before playing for Bradford, Eben Skur played a season at Batley Bulldogs. The second statement is, the last time Bradford won both the Super League and the Challenge Cup was in 2005. And then thirdly, during Brian Noble's 2004 season, he won 100% of the games he coached.
Oh. Yeah, not that easy. Right. So the first statement about Eben, unless it was on some sort of loan that I didn't know about, I would say that is bull, because he came up through the Bradford Academy, played for the Academy, and then got into the first team and has been pretty much a feature in the first team ever since.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The second statement, which was, just repeat that for me.
The last time Bradford won both the Super League and the Challenge Cup was in 2005.
I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like this could be no-ble, just because I feel like the 100% record for Brian No-ble, although would be a really good statistic, I do think that is bull. But again, I'm happy to be proved wrong.
We want the answers then.
Yeah, go on. I'll stick with that final answer.
Yeah, okay. So unfortunately, it's not quite right. According to this Rugby League Project website, Brian No-ble coached only 1 game in the 2004 season, and he won it. So that was a 100% win record.
Yeah, fair enough.
The last time Bradford won both the Super League and Challenge Cup was in 2003. Eben Skur never played for Batley Bulldogs, as far as I can tell. He was one of the youngest players ever to play for Bradford Bulls on his debut. So, that was bull. But you nearly got there, Laura.
Yeah.
I was threw that tricky one in for you.
Yeah, it's good questions there, Alan. Like I say, I wasn't sure about the Challenge Cup one, because you got to forgive me. Like, I would have been quite young at the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, not that young, but I was. yeah, I think it's because, like I say, the 100% thing threw me. I thought, surely that's not right, but obviously a little bit of a trick question, but that good one. I liked it.
Very good. Right, and then that brings us to the end of another episode. We really hope you've enjoyed it, and please go and tell a friend, get other people listening, and get in contact with us.
Yeah, join us next week. We'll be on again. It'll probably be a little bit shorter than usual. Obviously, we won't have had a match to review, but we will do a kind of deeper delve preview into the game coming up at Odsal against York. Oh, and just finally, I'd forgotten to mention during the main podcast that it's Joe Keys achieved 1,000 career points in his match this week. So congratulations to Joe Keys.
Very good. Okay, see you next week then. Bye.
Yeah, see you next week. Bye.